meeting to order. And I want to welcome everybody who's here. And if there's anybody, I'll say again, if there's anyone else that or anyone would like to sign up for the public comment session, feel free to do so right now. Okay, there is none, so we'll open with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll ask Vice Mayor Berlin Curtis to lead it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item of business will be to adopt the proposed agenda. And I would like to add one item to the agenda. It probably after I, after H, and that would be a discussion about a request we've had for a banner. So is there a motion that we add that to the agenda?
I so move.
Second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? All opposed? All right, then that goes by the wayside. All right, like days for the, it says an approval of the January the 5th and January the 24th board minutes. Is there a motion to approve the those town board minutes?
So Barbara, have you gone through them? We're looking for something we thought was all mistake in, but did you see anything?
I read them. I didn't see. You're good at picking it up. Okay.
Yeah, okay. We were relying on you to
Like
find
no pressure or something.
Yeah.
I thought I saw Miss Daisy here, but I can't find it now, so I must have moved it.
Any further discussion? All in favor of adoption? Nobody opposed. Okay. And the public session, we had nobody sign up. Last call. Still nobody. All right, we have a proclamation. If you young folks would like to come up here while I read this proclamation, we'd be delighted to have you. Just come right on around and just stand right behind me here. Welcome. Hi. Okay, this is a proclamation for the Hunger Awareness Month. Whereas worldwide, 842 million people, about 1 in 8 are hungry. And whereas malnutrition causes nearly half of all under 5 child deaths, and whereas 3,614 people were served locally by CareNet in 2014 with an average of 7 visits for services per household, and whereas there are 5,350 estimated food insecure people in Macon County, and whereas 1 in 3 Macon County children are considered food insecure, and whereas 19.6% of Macon County residents live below the federal poverty threshold, a family of 4 equals $23,550. That's the annual household income. And whereas the youth of First United Methodist Church are leading the 30-hour famine to raise awareness of the issues of world hunger among our youth, congregation, and community, and to collect money and food for CareNet to help address the need locally, collect money for World Vision to help address the need around the world, to work together with others in the area doing hands-on projects related to hunger and poverty, to fast by going without food for 30 hours, to learn more about what many experience each day. Now therefore, be it resolved that the town of Franklin hereby proclaims February as Hunger Awareness Month. Be it further resolved that the town of Franklin encourages all residents of Macon County to help address hunger by supporting the 30-hour famine and donating food and money to help address hunger both locally and around the world. Do I hear a motion to approve the proclamation as read? A second. All in favor? Okay, looks like y'all gonna have to go 30 hours down.
They do it every
Can you
year.
do it? I tell you, this is very fine, and I am so delighted to see young people that are taking an interest in helping others. Thank y'all so much. Now, what I do, I sign this, and it goes down to the clerk, and he will attest to it, and then they'll give y'all a copy. Thank y'all
Look,
so
look,
much.
Everybody look up and smile before we,
Hey.
thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Y'all got it?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
you.
Appreciate y'all. Okay. The presentation of a sufficiency notification for 44 Lowry Lane. Mr. Simons and Counselor? Let's see here, let me make sure. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay.
Essentially, when you get a petition for an annexation, it has to meet certain requirements dictated by the state. I work closely with Mr. Henning, town attorney, and the land use administrator, Mr. Justin Setzer, and he's going through the criteria. It's not a matter of my opinion, it's either yes or no. The parcel that requested to be annexed is actually in a subdivision. In order for me to certify it, all the subdivision has to be included in that. The petition did not, so therefore I couldn't certify it. And Mr. Haney, if you could go into a little bit more detail.
I'm as surprised as I can be about this. I did not see this coming as an issue for this particular annexation request. It's not something that I think of, and I don't know if Billy, working in real property, would you think that that area hadn't been a subdivision?
I guess I knew that it was, but I didn't think about it because it was such an old subdivision and was never.
And that's exactly where I was. I had not given any thought to the fact that it is a subdivision. And the problem is, the statute, it is platted as a subdivision. And I don't know if you can see the highlighted area is what was proposed for annexation, and the whole thing is the platted subdivision. State law is very black and white about this annexation standard. I really expected to find there would be some sort of exception for a subdivision that was platted in 1958 and hasn't really been operated as a subdivision in all that time, but there just isn't one. What the statute and what Chad referred to in the statute refers to the definition of subdivision that's in another section of GS 160A subdivision regulation, and it doesn't say anything about the age of it, whether or not it's been actively operated as a subdivision. It says subdivision. The deed for this property discusses the subdivision, and it names the lots in it that are to be annexed. I spent a fair amount of time trying to find some exception, and I just don't find it. So unless the board has any direction that would continue to do that, I don't see any way to annex it. I don't think it can meet the standards that the clerk has to certify to, unless every bit of this and all of the owners of that property are included in the petition. So there's really no action for the board to take at the moment, because you can't take action on it. If we had been able to certify the sufficiency of it, the next action would be to schedule a public hearing on it at the next meeting. And then after the public hearing, you consider annexation. As it stands, the clerk can't certify the sufficiency of the petition to you. And so there's just no action to take. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have about that.
It's dictated by the state, and it's pretty black and white. I mean, there's no ambiguity in that language at all.
In fact, that was about the time that the motel was built down there. You think that was maybe a subdivision that was put in at the time of construction of that? Or?
Possibly.
That would have something to be known well by the county.
It is north, that particular parcel is just one north of the area that we're talking about,
Right.
subdivision. north.
Most of that subdivision's on this side of the highway, right?
It's on both sides.
Both sides?
Yeah, and as it was platted in 1958, they left a 100-foot wide easement through some of the parcels, and I don't know if that was, if plans for 441 were already in place at that point in 1958. It certainly looks like they knew it might be in the offing, but.
Okay.
Wow.
So what can they do, the ones that are doing the petition for us to annex it? What would be their steps?
If they were to get all of the owners of property in that subdivision to join in the petition for annexation, the town could consider it again. But what that may, we'd have to look at that point, if we had another petition to explore the sufficiency of which, we would then have to look at, there's another one of the standards says that the total satellite annex areas can't exceed 10% of the town land area. I have no idea. I doubt that would, we'd have to evaluate it. I don't know. But it will take the joiner of the owners of all of that property in there to overcome this problem. And if that happens, we can look at it at that time.
Yes, Mouse.
I'm Miles Gregory, and I'm here to represent Mr. Henry T., who has made the request for this property to be annexed. And of course, I've been in business here 45 years, as most of you know, in the real estate business. And I know, I'm fairly familiar with that property down there. The old highway, the old Georgia Road, the subdivision went to that road and when it was subdivided in 1958. Since that time, part of that subdivision was sold off, and that's where the Mexican restaurant is now. And it's where the old steakhouse was, Mr. Mayor. And so when they built the new road in the late 60s, early 70s, then that property was purchased at that time. It was not, they didn't envision the new road going where it is now at that point in time when that subdivision was developed. So it has not been no activity, to my knowledge, in that subdivision for the last 20, 30 years. So I see no problem myself with the town just annexing this piece of property, because there's no restrictions in the deed, to my knowledge, that would prohibit this property to have a change in use. So I don't see no problem with it. But I would, we can do some more research and get you some more facts if you like on this. But
I'm sympathetic to what Mr. Gregory said. I fully expected to find, even when it came to our attention that this is in a subdivision, that there would be an exception along the lines of what he's talking about. Not been operated as a subdivision, parts of it sold off and in a different use now. I don't find it. And unless the board directs me to spend any more time researching that issue, I really don't plan to. I need your direction as to whether or not to pursue that. But as Chad said, the statute is clear as a bell. It says if it's a subdivision, then you have to take it all. And all of the owners have to join in the petition. I wish there was something else I could tell you about that. I didn't find it.
Wanted to continue looking?
I think that, I don't know that Mr. Henning ought to be the one that looks. I mean, if Mr. T is interested in annexation, then maybe his attorneys.
His attorney should do it.
Rather than ours.
Would that be okay?
I don't know
What do you think,
anything
Miles?
else to tell you, Miles, about it.
okay, I can have Mr. T's attorney look into it and get some more information if you'd like
That'd be
to
great.
present it at your next meeting, if that's
I mean,
Yeah.
acceptable.
If they would like to, that would be fine. I'm not sure that they're gonna be able to find anything other than what we found.
But at least look for it, yeah. Have them look.
How do you get out of a subdivision?
Yeah.
I suppose if all of the owners join together and agreed that there is no subdivision anymore and recorded something along those lines, maybe.
That would be a loophole.
It would be back, we'd be back to same square one, you still have to have everybody agree on it.
Yeah.
Yes, you'd have to have everybody agree. It'd be different than everybody, all of them trying to get annexed in. But
But they could all ask to be, just also subdivision. Spatial.
Just one point that I'd like to make too, the property that y'all annexed not long ago was part of this subdivision.
All the way out.
It's contiguous.
It's quite right. The Crystal Falls shopping development and the old steakhouse across the street are in that subdivision as platted. I don't have any answers for you about that. I don't know whether that was considered at the time that was annexed in.
And when did we annex it in?
It's been a while.
That's not anything recent.
It's been since before I was working with the town.
We were very surprised it was in a subdivision. We nearly missed it, actually, but it is.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
I guess have him be able to go back to tell him to go back to his attorney and have him start looking. Well, I'm more than willing to hear it again if we can do something about it.
Okay. I'd be happy to contact Mr. Henry T, and have him and his attorney go ahead and do a little more research for you and get you some information that's available out there, all that we can get that's available.
Yeah.
And get it to you. Would it be okay that we present this to you at the next meeting that you have?
Absolutely.
When you
Mr. Gregory, let me suggest that Mr. T's attorney get in touch with me if he finds anything that says different. And because the step we would need to take first is to have the clerk certify sufficiency. And so I don't know that another presentation is going to make any difference. But
what I had in mind, maybe have his attorney come and make the presentation.
If he finds something.
Well, if you say we'd be happy to have him contact you.
yes, sir, just have him contact me.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Mom. The next item is the board authorization for the advertisements of real property tax liens for the current year of 2014. Ms. Wilkins?
Mr. Mayor, Board. I submitted a report to the Board of Aldermen for any unpaid real property tax for the tax year 2014. As of January 30th, the amount was $153,715.71. I am seeking board approval to advertise any unpaid 2014 real property tax as of 5:00 p.m. February 27th. With board approval, we can advertise in the March 6th edition of the Franklin Press.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to authorize Ms. Wilkins to advertise the real property liens for the current year of 2014. Is there such a motion? Motion. Second. All in favor?
Thank you very much.
I have one question real quick. The cost of advertising that we have to advertise when people pay penalties on interest and stuff, is that cost of the advertising included in that?
Actually, what happens is we take the total amount of taxpayers and it's averaged and it's shared equally among however many taxpayers. So normally it's running $4 to $5, but we do it equal.
Yeah, that's sufficient. Thank you.
Okay, Madam Manager, you have some budget amendments to bring before the board.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor and Town Board. I've actually got 3 before you tonight. The first one in your agenda packet, we're requesting to, in general fund for miscellaneous revenue, to transfer $21,284 into 2 expense accounts, insurance claim for vehicle repairs and capital equipment, and the justification for that would be to appropriate insurance claims revenue for repair of police vehicles, and the balance of that would be used towards payment of the existing lease agreement in the police department. That's the first one. The second budget amendment I have is in general fund in your revenue account to transfer and rent $3,500 into your expenditure account, which is your building maintenance. And the purpose for this justification is to appropriate rent revenues for the purpose of building maintenance costs. And then the third earnings of $4,500 and transfer that into your expense account in your miscellaneous. And justification for that is the appropriation of water and sewer retained earnings. And I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have on all three of those.
Anybody have any questions? There being no questions, is there a motion to approve the budget amendments as presented?
Second.
All in favor? All right, the next item is the replacement of the town bridge. Madam Manager, you're going to present some information on that.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Town Board. I received an email from a gentleman at the state, and the Town Board voted to approve $36,000 for the addition and betterment to the town bridge at your March 18th, 2014 meeting. The addition / the betterment was to incorporate a 10-foot multi-use path on the upstream of the bridge that would be separated from vehicle travel lanes by a concrete rail. NCDOT has informed us now that the vertical concrete barrier cannot be incorporated in its proposed location because it is located on a joint between the two bridge components. However, the concrete barrier can be incorporated if it is shifted 3 inches to the right, which slightly reduces it from a 10-foot path to a 9x9, and the overall bridge width remains the same. I wanted to present that to you guys tonight to see if the will of the board was still to continue with that $36,000 allotment. That's not a significant decrease, so that is something I would ask for you guys to consider. As a follow-up, I also asked, if you'll notice before you, I wanted to know the proposed schedule of the bridge and what they have outlined for me, kind of a time frame. February of 2015, this month, they're going to start to acquire easements. March of 2016, they will accept bids for the bridge. And then the start date, they're looking at May of 2016. The downside to this, it will take 18 months to 2 years for completion. I have also distributed to each of you, and there's copies up here for the media, their proposed reroute of traffic for inside as well.
Any comments, questions? Being none, is there a motion to accept that modification of about a 3-inch difference in what we originally voted on?
I move we accept it.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, Madam Manager, I think you're going to bring up some information about the town's travel policy.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. What you have before you tonight is just 2 word phrases in the Town of Franklin travel policy, and it is under 4D. The wording that we're requesting that you guys revisit is to state that meal costs will be reimbursed at a maximum of $35 per day for overnight travel expenses. Only day trips will require receipts to be submitted on a base of a per diem per meal. And currently the state recommends the per diem cost per meal is $6 for breakfast, $12 for lunch, and $17 for dinner. However, the town will not reimburse an employee for the cost of meals that are included in the registration fee. So we're just asking for really one word change in that, in the fact that it will, meal costs will be reimbursed to the maximum of $35 per day for overnight trips, which would not require a receipt.
Okay. Do I have a motion to that effect?
I so move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, we now have, Madam Manager, looks like you're back again.
Yes, sir. Thank
The
you.
update on the state revolving loan fund for the Town of Franklin water plant upgrading and expansion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What I have before you is just some information that was passed to us from a letter that we received in the mail last Friday. And it is just an official notification that the total loan amount the town has received for the water plant upgrade and expansion is $3,578,750 at 0% interest. And what I listed below, I wanted you guys to see each a copy of the letter to kind of let you know the milestones that they expect us to complete. The first milestone we need to complete would be the engineering submittal report, which would not be due till May. As we go further into this process, I'll bring more information to you, but this was strictly just for you guys to kind of see an overview of where we'll need to go if we do continue to pursue the water plant expansion and upgrade. But this is just for information.
Okay. All right, we have a rezoning petition for 3 parcels on Silo Road to the town planning board. Justin?
Good evening. In your package, you'll see a application for petition for rezoning. It's on behalf of the town. I was doing this because was presented the potential for something that was going to need some rezoning. It was going to be on a smaller parcel in this area that's out on Sile Road, and decided this is an area that I had been looking at wanting to potentially rezone. There's multiple different uses. I'm trying to bring it up into an area that could be developed. And what I'm presenting is there's 3 parcels on Silo Road that right now are currently zoned R1 and MICR, which MICR is medical, institutional, cultural, and residential, which is, I don't know, very similar to neighborhood mixed use. And rezoning these to C2 and C2SU. In your package, you'll see my staff report and the map of the highlighted areas in blue. These total up, these 3 parcels together total 61.4 acres.
So all that you're requesting is just for the board to authorize. Wait a minute. I'm sorry, I've got the wrong sheet right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Planning board, yeah. We've got the wrong sheet of paper. Listed. Okay.
Justin, can I ask a question?
Yes, you may, certainly.
This is not, there's no
These are
blue on
black
here.
and
Would you
white.
tell me which part you're talking about?
Let me get this map here. If you look, this is this area in green here, which is the MICR, which is relative to the area. This is where the library and Southwestern is. The parcels that I'm recommending to be rezoned is this one large green. Not all of it. There'll be a little buffer between it and what's the Silo Road, the new road here. And then this big piece right here, it's kind of a W shape, and this other piece, which these 2 are both zoned residential.
Thank you.
Was any of that, the property at one time was talked about being a possible industrial park? Owned by you?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, that's on the other side of
That's-
this.
No, it's MICR.
Roundabout.
So we need a motion to pass it on to the planning board, is that correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
forward the rezoning petition.
I so move.
All in favor? The next item of business, I'll turn it over, it's the license agreement for the Bowery Restaurant. I'll turn it over to council and the town manager.
Mr. Mayor, it's my understanding that the soon-to-be open Bowery Restaurant, in part of their construction process, added a sidewalk that connects from the east side of their building to existing sidewalks on town property. I'm certain that no formal permission was given for that. I know it didn't come before the board. Sidewalks in particular are an area of concern for liability purposes for the town, because as you all know, the town gets no governmental immunity for accidents that happen on sidewalks. And so we need to be particularly careful where sidewalks are constructed, not under the town's supervision. And there needs to be some clear demarcation of who's responsible for what. And so this is at least an attempt at an agreement by which the town could give permission for, short of an easement that would be just sort of a easement usually is in fee, meaning that it's forever and ever. This is permissive use of that portion of the town property for location of an emergency exit. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about it, but that's mostly what I know of that situation and the purpose of this document.
Any questions of the board?
So this sidewalk is going to be used only for emergency uses? And the doorway, the entrances and that, the sidewalk is for emergency use only? As far as
That's
we know.
correct.
That's correct. Yeah, I talked with the fire marshal on it, and if you've got to have they had to have the emergency exit because they only have the front entrance, with exception of the area in behind, which would require going through a kitchen area, which that would be undesirable. But if you have an emergency exit, the emergency exit has to be wheelchair capable. And if you just went out onto the grass, it wouldn't be wheelchair capable, so the sidewalk had to be there. I think the issue is they put the sidewalk in and didn't ask permission from the town of Franklin to do so on town property, if I'm correct. So.
Well, to me, it looks like a taking of town property. If that were reversed, we'd be in real trouble here on the board if we take property without some form of compensation. And it looks like that's exactly what happened here, that the property was just taken from the town without any authority.
Mr. Mayor, I understand that Brett Murphy is here, who's developing the property. Sure. If the town would like to invite him to speak to this, I think.
Sure. Absolutely. Know
Okay.
what his reasons are.
So when I first began the process of working on this restaurant, I thought I had taken all the proper precautions and proper steps to get my plans approved by the town of Franklin and by the county. And those plans included that sidewalk and included that emergency egress. And so it was, did not realize that I needed to make a formal request towards the alderman. The exit is purely an emergency exit. It is not our main entrance to the building. And it was required by the county and Jimmy team because we're not allowed to route people through our kitchen. And so after meeting with the parties that are involved to get it approved, I thought I was set, and I would have not have started the project had I known I was not in everybody's good graces. So at this point, I'm just really seeking an agreement between y'all to let me have the sidewalk there. Certainly not trying to impede on anyone's property or the town's property, but just need the sidewalk to be there in order to have my business.
I would suggest to you, Mr. Mayor, that I understand that in addition to concerns about use by the public of that particular doorway, and that as not just an emergency exit, but ingress and egress, which obviously that hasn't happened yet because they're even open. But I understand that there has been at least one incident where the town staff was having trouble accessing the parking lot for their vehicles back here because it was being used as a delivery entrance. So I think that at the very least, I had not considered that particular situation. I said in here that it would be used as a, only in the case of emergency, but I think maybe that ought to be a little more strongly worded. Having said that, I do think that the town's options at this moment are don't agree with anything, consider it a trespass, and instruct me to start some kind of process to have it removed. And that's going to be extensive and going to take a while. And also leave a neighboring use of a property on Main Street without much other option for egress. And whoever occupies that building for commercial use is going to have an emergency exit. So it doesn't matter who it is. That's, if you want to see it used in a productive manner, that's somebody's going to need permission from this town to use that part of the property. Now, whether that's
Well, okay, I'm sorry. I'm thinking, if you should, I guess okay. I'm thinking right now that we ought to take it under advisement, at least for a time being, to see kind of where all this stuff washes out. Okay. Well, that's going to be my opinion.
Let me just suggest to you, though, that getting it under some sort of an agreement, the other end of that spectrum is give an easement that is in fee simple and is forever and ever and ever. You don't know whether the town's use of town property is going to require you to have something else done with that particular part of the town property. So this is the middle option. This says, okay, the town's going to permit you to do that, and it has the advantage of whomsoever is using it is going to agree to indemnify the town, take legal responsibility, and insure the town against loss for slip and fall on that particular part of the sidewalk. It'll make clear who's legally responsible for injuries that happen. So if your desire is to take it under advisement, I think that it needs to be revised to some extent anyway to take into account other uses that I hadn't thought about and make it a little more explicit that this is for an emergency exit only. But I agree with you. I think that given that we need to revise it and look at it a little more closely anyway, that taking it under advisement for this meeting is a good idea. I agree with that too.
Yeah, I would like to, before we agree to anything, I'd like to see that area out there cleaned up. Let them finish that project. There's mud out there now, even where the LP gas or the natural gas line was put in. It's kind of a mess out there too, with clods of dirt and stuff laying around. That was all in the agreement on that all be fixed, and that wasn't. So I'm a little bit concerned about this.
That is in the easement for Tacoma Natural Gas, and they did agree to maintain that.
Go ahead, Rick.
Mr. Burke, excuse me.
I'd just like to say that
I'll call the clerk. So. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Mr. Burke.
I'd just like to say, as part of getting this all approved through the town, I agreed that I would like to re-landscape that whole area and make it a nice area. It really was kind of a dead zone, I thought, for the town. And I would like to landscape it, had in fact purchased plants and shrubbery and everything to do that over there, and was just instructed to halt all my progress on that side before I did anything. But certainly I'll be cleaning it up and making it very nice. Even though it's an emergency exit for us, it's not our main exit. We'll have a sign on it that says, please use our front door. We do have parking in our back, so people might access y'all's public sidewalk there to the front of our building. But that's why we'll have a sign on the door that says, please go around to use our front entrance. This is an emergency exit only. But we still want it to look nice and be nice on that side of the building. I've just been instructed to halt my progress.
I have a question. If we put this into whatever you want to call it, postponing, there'll be a month in between. What if something were to happen in that month? Should we have something in place, or it's not important?
One other thing to consider, you do have, when we get a little bit further on, if it's the will of the board, you do have your continuation meeting February the 16th, or you can wait until your March 2nd meeting. But just something to consider.
And I don't see any reason why by the continuation meeting that the manager's proposing for you that we can't have a more polished up license agreement.
In 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's not gonna preclude you from opening or anything, correct, Brent?
Sidewalk's gone, I'm done.
No, we're not
We,
gonna take it
we
away.
understand that. We
Okay.
want the business to be successful.
Thank you.
Okay, then I guess we'll need a motion, is that right, Counselor, to take it under advisement?
If the board's going to take it under advisement and take no action
Okay,
on
no
it,
action.
we don't need to have any action.
Then we will be back.
We need to make it into a meeting.
I will bring you a more finalized version of this in your continuation meeting, February 16th.
So we're continuing the meeting. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is that right, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, yes, thank you. All right, so let's go around the table. Ms. Hanley, do you have anything to add, you want to bring up? We're getting out of here under a new record.
Oh, well, we can't, we'll have to stop that then.
Well, I think you can
No
just
ball
stop.
games tonight, so.
You don't have anything?
No, I was just gonna say, with winter here, we're still looking actively to start doing some positive things with the sidewalk outside. We know a lot of the stores downtown are wanting things fixed, and we're getting figures and, you know, we're wanting to do something so that we show that we're doing something with the streets.
Okay, so
Okay.
we prioritize that pretty much at the retreat.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, I think the media was there for that.
Yes, they
so.
were.
All right, Mr. Jameson?
Out looking at some of the sidewalks and some conditions, and I think I would like to see our maintenance department. It's kind of an off year for them, we're not mowing anything, get out there and start going ahead and cleaning up and at least removing some of the dirt and debris and the grass around them, get it done now, so.
Mr. Mashburn, man. Oh, come on, man. You're letting me down. Ms. Curtis?
No,
Barbara?
No, I'm fine.
Patty? Anyone else? All right, I will, I don't guess we actually need a motion, but maybe we do, to continue the meeting. Yes. Oh, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. For February.
Don't swallow
I'm getting allergic to this board. Yes, Brenda?
Didn't you add something to the agenda, a banner?
Pardon?
Didn't you?
No,
No,
okay.
the vote was 4-2 not to allow it to go on the agenda.
Oh, okay. I missed that part.
All right.
Okay.
So that effectively killed it.
Okay.
All right, I'll entertain a motion that we continue the meeting for February the 16th, and make a note of this, at 5:30, not 7 o'clock, 5:30. Unless
What day is that,
unless
sir?
somebody wants to change that time.
February what, sir?
The 16th.
make a motion to continue.
All right, the motion has been made to continue this meeting from February the 16th at 5:30 p.m. Is there a second? All right, all in favor? I'll see you in 2 weeks.
I can hardly wait.
It's harder on me than it's you.